All right, part 2 of Lucky the Bamboo. So I did find one that had a little bit of disease on it, and I picked up, it was brown or black on the bottom of it, and it had a little lengthiness. So I'll talk about that one in a few minutes, but let's assess the rest of these and show you what's going on. So I guess we're going to do this tallest one first and work our way down, because otherwise we're just going to have a mess. Just like in the other video, I only want about 2 inches worth of roots. Now, yes, I have a big, deep vase, but I also have a lot of big rocks to stabilize it. If you don't have rocks to stabilize your plants, you don't want to take off as many roots or leave the root system short, like 2 inches. But since I have the stability for it and I'm shortening all these, then we are going to go ahead and leave the root system at just 2 inches. And so you can see these are a little bit of where I've taken off some of the other roots. He does have a little baby pup there, elbow, and that's the 2 inches of root system. So with this guy, he has an elbow. If you see on the top there, try and do this without breaking him. This is where I cut him last time to shorten him, and it dries up and seals and it stays white. That's what you want. You can see it's got real nice dark green color, which is what you want. We do have a couple of sheaths that haven't peeled all the way, so I'm just going to clean those up quick so you can see that again. This one's good. And then we've got the elbow here. Well, that's what we're going to talk about next. So let's get our handy dandy vase. Eyeball the water level so that it's below the 2 inches. Eyeball how tall these are, and since this one has an elbow, we're going to leave him this height, but we're going to cut off his elbow. And he's got another pup, so he'll be fine. So there are 2 different ways you can cut the elbow. You can cut, and I've seen it both ways, and I've only done it the one way where I cut it flush up right against the stem here, flush where this elbow comes out. But this time I'm going to cut it just a hair past where the elbow cuts out and see how that does, because I've seen where you cut it over here just a hair instead of flush with the stem, and that'll stimulate a lot more growth, and that'll put off more pups or elbows that can then be propagated. So we're going to try it that way this time and see how it goes. You can already see that some of these had leaves and I pruned them off. Some of them are new leaves, like these 2. So we're going to cut the elbow off, and what I want you to see, maybe you can see close up. There you go. That should focus. You see that little white spot right here? That's actually a root. See it? That's actually a root that is starting to come out of the elbow to stimulate more growth. And if I peel this back, here, let me see if I can peel this little piece of sheath back on both sides. Okay, here, you can see it better there. See that elbow and that little bitty root? Yeah, there you can see it real good. That's its root right there. So we're going to go ahead and cut it. This one, since it's got a root right there at the elbow, I'm going to see if I can't cut it as flush as possible, and we'll cut the next one a little bit further off. Okay, so here's our little handy dandy loppers. And gonna eyeball that root. I'm gonna line this blade up right along the edge. See how flush it is? I'm gonna lop it off right there. Voila. Here you can see how flush the cut was. Really nice and flush, and that will heal. We'll stick that in that jar of water. And there you can see we saved the root. And now I'll pull some of these green leaves off and stick it in the water. So, and you can see this guy is a lot taller than the other guy. So we're gonna really see, you don't want to thin him out too thin to where he's weak, because most lucky bamboos are pretty thick. You know, some of them can be as thick as my thumb and thicker. So I'm working on shortening these, and hopefully they'll thicken up and be a little bit prettier to look at. But either way, I like them the way they are. So we're gonna peel off these little leaves, just like I showed you on the last video. We're gonna pull these green sheaths down and off. Careful not to scratch the stem or damage it. That's why I say do not use a knife, because you don't want to ruin it or nick the stem and cause it to get any kind of disease or be unhealthy or weaken the stem. Alright, so we're going to continue to pull these green sheaths down. If they break off, it's okay. I mean, you're going to stick it in water, it's going to root. After a while, then it'll just fall off or rot off, and just change the water, check on it. If you have to pull it out and clean it off a bit, that's okay too. But I'm just going to pull this off a little. I don't want to pull too much, like I showed you on the other video, that your stem gets too thin. So you see, we're doing really good. Remember, I'm going to put this in 2 inches of water. So you want the root ball to be in, well, in my case, 2 inches of water. So one by one, we're just pulling off the leaves. I think I'll do maybe one more here. We'll do this one last one just to be safe side. Still gives it plenty of oxygen. There we go. See that? And since we do still have quite a few leaves up here, that's a lot of energy to have to worry about. So we're just going to go ahead and cut off, see right here, give it an inch or so of leaf, cut it off, just so that way it doesn't have so much energy. It's focusing on trying to grow these, especially because we have all of this, and if you look right in there, there's a little new leaf. So we're going to count 3, 4, 5. I think we'll just take one more off and leave 7 leaves, including the new leaf. That's 7, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the baby. That's good enough, and we're going to stick this in the vase and continue on with the last 3. I stuck them over here because I think they were getting a little bit dry, and that's concerning. So let's see here, what do we got left? We got this little guy here. Okay, that's the little guy that was had an issue, so we're doing him last. So I got 1 elbow, 2 elbows, we got 3 elbows left. All right, and you see how toppy they are. They just don't want to stay up there. So this one is pretty much cleaned off of the roots. Already cleaned all those roots off and everything. And you can see right there, that little white nub is another baby. That's an elbow growing. And he's pretty tall. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to lop this elbow off too. Now this elbow is not as long, but it'll be alright. And I'll show you how that's done. Get our little loppers here, and this time we're going to lop it off shortly past the elbow, not flush with the actual stem. And do it this way. I'm going to go, hang on. Okay, I thought I might have seen a root, but no. Okay, so we're going to just kind of pull it out just a hair, see how it's not flush. Give it a chop. Okay, with that being done, there's the stalk. I'm going to stick him in this bucket of water.
A strong America, a strong economy.
And we're going to do the same as we did before. And peel off a couple of these leaves. Now this one is a thinner one, so we don't want to peel off too many. I'm going to leave, what's this, about an inch, and then I'm just going to cut these leaves off because you don't want the stalk to be the stem to be too thin. And we're going to come up here and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we'll leave 6 on that one just so it's got enough leafage, foliage to photosynthesize and then still continue to grow. And just like last time, once you get that far, just gonna give it a quick rinse. Make sure all the dust is off of the leaves. Shake it a little, which I didn't do with that other little guy, so I have to go get it and do that too. With this little guy right here. He looks pretty clean though. Yeah, I guess I did him. Alright, so that's good. Okay, one more of these. Here's the other guy that didn't get rinsed off. Yeah, I see the dust on him. What I say is giving him a shower. Dampen both sides of the leaves. Shake him off a hair so he doesn't leak all over my kitchen because you see all the water on him. There you go. One more stalk, and then the one that I'm going to talk to you about that has the health issue. So let's see if we can pull this guy out. Oh, you're dropping your buddy here. Get back in there. Alrighty. Now, I already cleaned off all the roots for this one too. This is where his little pup came off. You can see how we've cleaned all of that up. Now, the special thing I was telling you about on the other end of the other video is when your container runs out of water, your vase, because I will fill it up to that water level and I leave it for months on it. So I leave it so that all the roots will get an opportunity to breathe by having the water evaporate. Then I come back and I water it again and fill it up to the water level. And with all those rocks in it, you can drop that water to where the roots are not in the water, but there's still water in the jar or the vase, so that it'll still collect the evaporating water. So, but what I wanted to show you is when it gets too dry, you see right here? This is what they call an aerial root. And the reason they call it an aerial root is because it will put off a root because it got too dry, that it was absorbing more water from the air and the lower bucket than anything else, because I forgot to water it for a while and it got pretty dry. It only happened once or twice, but happened enough that the plant told itself, hey, I need something more to absorb the moisture out of the air. And this one, you can see I peeled it so the little sheaths haven't dried out. This is probably the one that the cat was chewing on, and I decided I needed to put it somewhere else. So we already have the height, and yes, it's a little bit tall, but it'll be fine. It'll match with the other ones. So we're going to analyze here. There's no roots coming out of this one, so again, I'm going to pull it just barely away from the stalk and prune it there, just like we did the last one. Here's flush. We don't want it flush. We want it out just a hair. Oop, there we go. There's the nub. I'm going to stick him, and you can see he's got some really good, healthy, thick roots. And that's what you want. You want to make sure that you're taking good care of them, and they got plenty of roots and everything. And this little guy is way loppy. And then we're going to do the same thing as we did. Repeat the process. Peel off some of these leaves. And most of the time it's really easy. And since they've been out in there in the water and everything, you see how easy that is. This guy's a little tall, but again, he didn't have any roots. So we're only going to pull so many, knowing that this is going to be where he has his roots come out of. So he'll start throwing off roots, but you don't want him too thin either. So that's about good. Here's where the next leaf comes. So we're going to count out 1, 2, okay, we got a baby leaf, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 will be good. So then it's not too leafy either, because we're trying to clean it up so it's not so bushy and it draws the cat's attention. And there you go. I'll probably take off one more leaf, really. Yeah, I think we will. We'll go ahead and take that leaf off too. That way it's not so bushy. And then we're just going to give it a quick shower. Spraying all the tops and the bottoms of each one of the leaves. Cha-cha-cha. Make sure all the dust and dirt or what have you is off of them. There you go. I'll shove him in this bucket for now. And now we'll go to the last one. Last but not least. Okay, remember I told you this one. Oh, this isn't the one. The other one I might have already done. Oh, no, he's over here. So this one is cleaned up too. I guess I just miscounted. But this one's cleaned up really well. You can see how it was twisted, so it had a different kind of an angle. That's okay. This one might even be able to start growing in a twirly loop. We don't know. We'll figure it out. There's some of that sheath. See it? There's that dried up sheath. As it gets down to the let me just clean it up a hair because it's dried up, so then you can start peeling it off. You don't want to try and peel too much of it when it's green, because like I said, you really don't want to damage the plant or get it too thin. Okay, this one looks like it's got a root node but no root. Okay, let's peel back this sheath. Is there a root that's submerging from here? Not that I can see. No, I don't see one. Okay, but I do see a possible, see that little speck right here by my fingernail? See that little speck? That's a potential root. It hasn't bulged out yet, but it's a potential root. So we're going to cut right below that just like we did the last couple. And since this one's got an angle, it's not going to be easy to cut it flush, so we're not going to try and stress it. We're going to cut it, where did my nub go? We're going to cut it right here where this node is. See that very first node here, past the core? We're going to cut it right there. There you go. You can still see part of the node, if it'll focus. Maybe not. There you go. You can see the node, but but it's still got plenty of length. This guy's already pretty long and tall, and you can see he's at an angle, so he's going to be wonky one. So we don't have to peel any of this, but we are going to clip off some of its leaves, especially because you can see some of them are browning because the cat chewed on it. So I clipped off some of that to stop it from dying, and it was struggling, so you can see where it even started to try and put off a new root. See that little brown spot or white spot? That's it trying to put off a new root, because the cats are wicked to my plants. So, alright, we're going to clean this up. It's going to have this funny arch to it, but that's okay. Okay. This one's probably going to be one of the tallest ones we have. And we got 1, 2, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're going to keep those 6 and cut these last 2 off. Just because it is at an angle, you don't want too much weight on the top of it. And there you have it. There's the wonky one. You're going to give it a quick shower. And when you're showering them, like there's a bunch of them here, so I'm not going to do it on this one. I usually go through and assess all of the leaves to make sure that there's no bugs or parasites on them, both sides, and periodically throughout the month or the week or whenever I walk past it, I'll wipe it down so it's not so dusty, and I check to see, is there any discoloration? Have the cats been chewing on it? So it's got, where's the leaf I just seen? This one. See where the cats got to it? The light shined through? Yeah, that's what cats do. They'll kill your plants. They're hooligans. But yeah, I just check to make sure there's no parasites. I wipe them down. And that way you're just keeping an eye on them to keep them healthy. Last one is going to be the one that I spotted the disease. Part of it I could notice because of the leaves. Yes, they're yellowing. Well, actually browning because they've been pruned and the cats chewed on them. But like this one, you can see where it's also starting to fade and yellow. Another reason why we're doing this today. You can see how this one is a lot yellower than, say, this one. It's got more dark green to it and pigment. Well, when we took it out and I looked at it, we had part of its stem was dead. You can see there's still a little bit of black, and that's thick. You don't want thick like that. You only want it on the end, the bottom of the stem. So with that one, since this is the last one, then I'll clean these shears off afterwards, or loppers. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this off up to the next node where I see some more little where I see some potential roots growing. And I don't know if you can even see that because it's hard for this thing to focus today. See the potential roots there? There's some potential roots down here. There you go, the root nubs. So we're going to lop it down to here where my fingernail is to get rid of that sick part and hope that it bounces back. And you can see there's still 2 inches of, a little over 2 inches on this one. But since it's sick and it does have this good healthy feeder root, we want to keep that until we make sure that it bounces back okay. So eyeball this guy here, get the leaf off of you. Go down there. Okay. Gonna eyeball him. Cut him off right above that node where those roots are. Now we're not going to clean this guy off too much. There's a couple of sheaths here that are dry and faded. And those ones I really want to double check because they're going to go into water now, so you don't want them to rot. But I just want to peel these off to double check to make sure there's no parasites underneath there that I can see. That looks like it's putting off more root, which means it sensed that it had a problem and wanted to put off more roots to try and gain its health back. Okay, see here, you can see it started putting off more roots because it felt like there was illness here. We need to start and heal ourselves, which is a good thing. That shows that it's a good plant. Its health has not gone downhill that fast or that bad that it can't try and save itself. And we got really cruddy weather today. It's raining and real thick and muggy and yucky, so it's hard to breathe for me today. And it seems like for some reason I'm having allergy issues today. So my water's on the other side of the room over there. So I get a little choked up. Or you can hear it. I can hear it in my voice. It's a little wonky. But we'll clean this off quick. Assess the leaf issue. Because again, you don't want so many leaves on it that it struggles to get food from the leaves to the roots or vice versa. And because we do have some not so pretty looking leaves there, and we got some good healthy ones up here, we're just going to end up stopping it from putting so much energy into trying to heal these leaves. Now that we know the signs, we're going to eliminate those. So we're going to go to the first leaf. Okay, we got 2 leaves. First, we're going to cut off these bottom ones that don't look so pretty. So let's do that first, because I already know those are the ones I'm cutting off. Okay, now we have this leaf here. It's a little discolored. And we have this leaf here. That's a little discolored. And this one up next to it is just a little discolored. So I think what we're going to do is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to cut off these 2 and leave 5 leaves, because there is a new baby leaf in there too. So let's go ahead and cut these other lower 2 off. So now we only have the one that's discolored, and there's a new baby in there. So there we go. And we're going to leave this guy and just shove him in with the rest of them and hope that he heals and doesn't spread any disease, because I'm not secluding them. It's only one. You have to have at least 3 to keep them happy and have company. And I just don't have space for one single lucky bamboo to try and heal. So he's going back in there. Okay. Now that we got them all chopped up, I didn't give that guy a bath real quick. Do you need a shower? I guess I better give you a quick shower. Let's give you a quick shower like I did the rest of them. Rinse off your leaves, so don't forget. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Cha-cha-cha. Flip your leaves over. There you go. Good. Okay. Shake you off. Okay, now we got them all cut. They're still a little tall, but not as bad. And I did put the 2 pups in here too that we pulled off. So, I'm going to take them strand by strand, and I'm going to try to match them all up. So now that I got them on the counter here again, here's one of the pups. I'm going to stick the pups. I don't know where the other one is. Where you go, little guy? I don't know. We'll find you along the way. We're going to take all of these and we're going to match them up. Match the stems. Here's the other little pup. I stuck that in the strainer. And match these stems up so they're all pretty much the same. We want them level, remember. Okay, got one more stem in there, but he's at the bottom of the pile. So now we're going to match these roots up. You see, I'm just holding them in a clump because that's what we're going to do. We're going to stick them all in as a clump now. Because we want the water level to stay the same on all of them so that they no longer have all those crazy roots growing everywhere. Match you up here. There you go. Nice and level. Some of them will go wonky. Some of them will be sideways. Some of them will blend together. I'm going to take this little twist tie that I had on them before and have that hold them all together. Not tight, but just hold them all together so that they have some stability as a clump. Okay. These 2 babies, the 2 little pups, we're not going to put them with these. Here's the little tie. We're just going to loosely wrap it around. You don't want it tight. You want to keep the clump together till the roots get a little bit more stable. I don't know if you can even see this. It's pretty loose. I'm just going to grab it, twist it a couple times. See how loose that is? How much slack there is in that? Like a whole finger's worth. Here, do it this way. You can see my finger can still fit in there. So it's loose. That way it's got some move room, but it's still going to be stable. You don't want that tied too tight because you'll start killing it off by suffocating its stem. Now, we're going to shove these all in here. Hold them together at the tie. Kind of twisty, twisty. Tuck those roots down. Then we're going to put these 2 little pups. Just tuck them in there, but you don't want the pups too submerged. So you want them to just kind of sit on the top of the water and just tuck their roots in. Make sure that their roots get in the water. But they just kind of sit on the top of the water and do their thing for now. And then, the whole reason we have all these rocks, which no, I did not go ahead and rinse the rocks. I'll do that another time because I got to get this done. I got a couple of other things to do, and this has already taken me over 2 hours. I had to take the dogs out and deal with them and everything else, so I'll just drop some of these rocks down in there. Make sure that your 2 pups, here, I'll show you this way. Here's the 2 pups. You don't want these 2 pups, there they are. You don't want them to get loaded down with the rocks. You want them to kind of just float there for a while So they're just kind of sitting there, still in 2 inches of water. But the rest of these guys need a little bit more stability. So we might even have to move these pups a little. Separate you. Drop some rocks down there to stabilize him. There you go. Put a fathead rock over here. I got another big one that can fill this spot here. There we go. Watch your pups. That's what I call the baby ones, pups. I'm going to stick this one in there. There we go. And I'm just going to keep adding all of these rocks for stability. And there, see? Now he's more stable. He's not all so wobbly. I do have a couple bigger rocks. Assess the space here. I got these bigger honk head, fat head rocks, whatever you want to call them. They're a lot bigger. That I'm going to put around the outside. This one just happens to be great because it's kind of circled. So we can just kind of stick that down in there. And it hugs those stems. There he is. Hugs those stems. That's actually pumice, aka lava rock. So it'll hold some water in it too. Okay, here's another one. We're going to hug it right there. And after a while, and since the water level's going up because we're adding rocks, once I get it in here, this is the last rock. So we're going to stick that in there. This water level is way too high, and it's covering the tie. The tie is one of those bread ties, so it's got a metal thing in it. You don't want that to get wet and rust. So I'm just going to brace the whole plant, tip it over, drop some of that water out so that I can assess. It is below the tie. Everybody is still nice and snug in that 2 inches of water. You've seen how we put it so far down. I probably can't see that, unfortunately. But the stems, you can see where some of the roots are way down here. So there's plenty of water in that. Yeah, you can see their stems way down here. So that's plenty of water. Once you add the rocks, then of course the water is going to rise anyways. But with the rocks, now you have a stable plant that now I can move. And you see he doesn't jiggle as much. And that's what we want. Once we're done with that, again, the little cigarette box I have taped up to cover all of its roots, so the roots are not exposed to the sun. And voila, the Lucky Bamboo looks a lot shorter, is a lot healthier, and now I can put him on the shelf and the cat won't eat him and he'll be happy and healthy. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it was useful for you. Remember, you are someone. You do matter. I love you. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next video. I have a part 3 that I'll do for the little one, and then I'll show you how I rinse off the rocks because we got other things to do. I'll come back to that later. Anyways, thank you for watching. Have a good day. Until next time, ciao now.